Hello, Sagittarius. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Saggies, and happy holidays. I hope all of you are doing well. I can't believe it's December. I'm ready to get on with 2018. Can I get an amen? Let's move on into your spiritual messages. You had a lot of angels pop out, so I'm not going to read all of them. I'll read like all of them from the book. I'll read these two from the book, but I want to read these real quick because they're kind of lower messages. So we have the angel Ray, and Ray says, yoga and exercise are essential to your well-being, peace of mind, and spiritual growth right now. So remember to stay active, get your heart rate up. I have said this before, but Sagittarians are the sporty spice of the zodiac. I think they do need action and movement, and they're a mutable sign too, so they often get a little bit of ADD, right? So keep it moving, Sagittarius, and make sure you get plenty of exercise, and that's going to really clear your mind and clear any clutter in your mind. Next we have Angel Yvonne, and Yvonne says, you have a special bond with animals. Your pets on earth and in heaven are watched over by angels. So that's really sweet. If you have pets, then give them extra love. And if you have just lost a pet, I'm really sorry about that. But just know that they're still with you on the other side. Okay, so the angels I will deal with more in depth are Grace and Antoinette. And Grace and Antoinette says, to help heal this situation, see the other person's point of view with compassion. So let me read from the book, Grace and Antoinette. So you may have had a fight with someone, and you may need to see things from their perspective. Sometimes it's hard when our pride, sometimes our pride gets in the way of some things. But Grace and Antoinette goes on to say, this misunderstanding has occurred because of judgments about the other person's motives and character. To heal the situation, the judgments need to be released. We have released over here, so that's interesting. Instead of seeing someone as good or bad, have compassion and know that everyone is doing the best they can. Instead of pitying someone, see that person's inner strength and godliness. In that way, you encourage divine light to be expressed within the other person and yourself. You are projecting something from your own shadow side onto the other person. So this situation is an opportunity for you to clear away an ego issue. Simply affirm, I am willing to release that part of me that is irritated when I think of you. Oh God, I totally relate. It's so hard, like, if you are a follower of Christ. The hardest thing, like, it's easy to love your neighbors, right? And it's easy to love your loved ones, but to love your enemies, it's like, how do you deal with difficult people? You just want to, like, push them off into a bridge. It's, like, the hardest thing to do, but I know, like, that's what helps humanity. It's, like, the hardest lesson to learn in love, but I think one of the most rewarding to love and forgive people who get on our nerves. Like difficult people. We angels are helping you to heal this situation miraculously so that everyone will forgive and forget judgments and act responsibly. Compassion is the key. Even some of your loved ones, like family members and friends, you don't always get to choose, or like coworkers and stuff, and you just, like, they're little twerps that annoy you. But even then, you have to practice, like, compassion and just knowing, like, we're all human, we all make mistakes. I'll forgive this idiot. I get it. It's, like, a super hard lesson, but Archangel Michael is with us to help us, right? And Grace and Antoinette are there too. So Archangel Michael says, I am with you, giving you courage to make life changes that will help you work on your divine life purpose. So Archangel Michael goes on to say, Archangel Michael says, I have come to you because you asked God for safety and protection, and because you asked about your life purpose. Since you are a divine light worker, I am overseeing the fruition of your divine life purpose. You have been a light worker for a long time, and you have felt different from others, isolated at times. Be assured that you have never been alone and that you will never be alone. When you feel pushed to make a change at work or at home, that may be my influence encouraging you to make your life's purpose a high priority. I can rearrange your schedule and support you in other ways to make your path smooth and harmonious. Simply ask me and it is done. I will also help you feel safe and comfortable during your life changes. So I'm getting, so far with the readings, kind of like a life purpose slant with a lot of you guys. I am thinking of one Sagittarius in particular who is kind of struggling with like 9-to-5 jobs and not having time to fulfill his creative passions. So even if, you know, it says light worker on here, but even if you don't identify as someone who is into like tarot and Reiki and all that stuff, it could also be just like your life purpose, like the light you shine into the world. So just ask the angels to like clear away time, carve out time for you to live your life purpose. So we have transformation in the Emperor. Transformation in the traditional Rider-Waite deck is the Death card. But don't get scared. Don't get scared. Don't get scared. Everything dies and everything like transforms into something else. One of the things I learned in college was that the thing that like blew me away and always stuck with me in college was that nothing is created and nothing is destroyed. Like something is always made from something else, and whatever faces destruction is always turned into something else, right? So if you are experiencing, again, our Archangel Michael says life changes. So you may be going through a period of transformation within yourself. It could be a job because we have the Emperor here, and the Emperor can signify like empire, right? A corporation type of place, but it can also signify the divine masculine. So if you are a male, this could be transforming into a higher form of masculinity within yourself. So the divine masculine is someone who is very focused, very directed, very determined. He takes action. He has drive. He can be destructive. He can tear things down, but it's in an effort to build something up. So it is a transformation. The divine masculine is someone who protects those he loves. He provides for those he loves. He makes sure that all the abundance in the world, or all the abundance available to him, is that he secures that abundance that is available to him so that he can provide for the ones he loves. And he makes it known, you know, he professes his love, he protects those he loves, he provides for those he loves. So let's get some clarification. Spirit, please surround us with the warm, light, loving light of God. Please give us God-given guidance for the highest good of all, for Sagittarius and all those who love Sagittarius. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. Could you provide us guidance for transformation in the Emperor, for Sagittarian spiritual life? Thank you, thank you, thank you. One more. Seven of Cups and the Hanged Man. If you identify as the divine feminine, then this could be a transformation within the masculine, your masculine counterparts in life, your father, your husband, your sons. So you may be, this may be, if you identify as the feminine, this may be what is annoying you is their transformation. Because sometimes, like, masculine energy is kind of butt-headed, you know, and insensitive sometimes. But just know that I feel like the divine masculine is the one who is undergoing transformation. So if you are getting annoyed, then just realize that they're ascending to a higher place. Like, these growing pains and these little bugaboos are ultimately leading them to becoming a better person. And I see that with the Six of Pentacles. The Six of Pentacles is a give and take card. It's about reciprocity. And it's a very, like, feminine, masculine card. It usually talks about resources, but pentacle suits, or the bells in this case, are like something of value, right? So if you value your relationships, this is the divine masculine, this is the divine feminine. The divine masculine gives, the divine feminine receives, and it's this equal give and take. But in turn, the divine feminine gives in other ways, as far as like bearing children, cooking a meal. And I'm being like very stereotypical. Obviously, this could be any gender. Obviously, this could be same-sex relationships, but we all have divine masculine elements within us, and most of us identify with either one or the other, and we have like some of the other, right? So, for instance, I identify as the divine feminine, but I know I have a little bit of masculine qualities in me, right? And it's all about balancing those two. And what I look for in a partner is someone who is divine masculine and has a little bit of the divine feminine within them. Someone who is in a same-sex couple relationship might have more of like a balanced divine feminine and divine masculine within them. But again, I think for most people, they feel like one outweighs the other, but we all have a little bit of that within us. I have rambled on way too much about divine feminine and masculine, but I guess some of you Sagittarians needed to hear it. In any case, this transformation that the divine masculine is undergoing is going to enable him to, or perhaps if you're the divine feminine and you're going through a transformation within yourself where you are discovering the divine masculine within you, ultimately it's going to elevate you to a place where it's an equal give and take among divine feminine and divine masculine energies. Next we have the Seven of Cups. The Seven of Cups is, it can be many things. If you're single, it can be playing the field, a lot of options. It can also be daydreams. It can be imaginations, castles in the sky. And perhaps during this transformation, you know, there are a lot of options surrounding you at this time. So it's about sifting through all of these possibilities, all of these daydreams, all of these imaginations, and seeing which one is the best fit for you. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, we see 7 cups, and one of the cups has like a dragon in it, and the other cup has like jewels. And so these cups can hold like all of our greatest dreams to all of our scariest nightmares, right? So it's about sifting through our feelings in regards to what's real, what we want to manifest, and what is garbage. Next we have the Hanged Man, and the Hanged Man is someone who is hanging upside down. He's in a waiting period, he's in a suspension period, and he's hanging by the foot. All of his possessions are falling out of his pockets, all of his money. He has grabbed on, he's been able to maintain some of it, but the rest have just fallen into this pond. And he's stuck there, has no place where else to go. In the traditional deck, we see an aura around the Hanged Man's head, and it talks about enlightenment. Like whenever we're hanging upside down, the blood rushes to our head, and then it makes our head a little fuzzy. But it's like gaining enlightenment, gaining like a new perspective. So we're seeing things from a different perspective. So while you're undergoing this transformation, perhaps the divine masculine is seeing, and again with this compassion too, like seeing the other person's perspective. Perhaps in this suspension period, in this transformation period, transformation can also be like the cocoon before the butterfly releases, right? And this is much like a cocoon. Within this suspension period, within this transformation period, you are seeing things from the other person's perspective. The divine feminine is seeing the divine masculine's perspective. The divine masculine is seeing the divine feminine's perspective, right? So it's this equaling out, this give and take, this yin and yang, and this period of stepping into those divine energies. Beautiful. I love it. Next, we have, actually, it's a good time to take a commercial break. We have money, health, and career. But first, commercial break. Because I got to make my money, right? Stay tuned. Welcome back, Sagittarius. So in your money, health, and career sector, I don't really like this devotion with the Hermit reversed. I feel like there might be an aspect where you're married to your work. And I don't really like that, but let's see what the Oracle card has to say. Talisman is a good card. We see a woman who is standing at the foot of a path. She's ready to go on a journey. And she has a talisman in her hand, and we have a yin and yang symbol right here too, so that might definitely be like a strong message. She has one foot on what looks like a stone, and then one foot on the path, and she's in like a blue wrap dress thing. Very beautiful journey ahead. Let's see what the book has to say. Let me focus for you. Talisman. Basically, this is a card of, like, you can't screw up, which I always love. I can do no wrong. So Talisman says, a lesson truly learned is crystallized as earned wisdom. You have all you need for the success you seek. Talisman goes on to say, wisdom allows you to recognize traps on the road and familiar patterns that you want to avoid. It also enables you to quickly gather information about where you are on your journey. It helps you recognize your allies and know how to find the best routes along the way. Now you're at a place where you know the right things to do and the best choices to make. You really can't commit a mistake. Whatever your inquiry, great fortune awaits you. For you have the wisdom to arrive at the right decision. You've learned your lessons and earned the right to your success. So, perhaps because you've been devoted to your job, you have gained all this experience to, you know, kind of take mastery over it. I said I didn't like the Hermit reversed with devotion because the Hermit reversed can indicate isolation. So, you know, being married to your job, isolating yourself from friends and family and your personal life outside of your work because you're so devoted to your job is a little to me. But perhaps pouring yourself into your job has elevated you, you know, it's boosted up your experience. So you're able to go on whatever path you want. Spirit, 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 could you clarify devotion and the Hermit for Sagittarius and all those who love Sagittarius? Please surround us with the warm, white, loving light of God and give us God-given guidance for the highest good of all for Sagittarius and all those who love Sagittarius. Spirit, Spirit, Spirit. What is in their money, health, and career sector? One more shuffle. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have the Ace of Acorns, the Emperor reversed, and the Chariot. Signs you could be dealing with in your workplace are Virgo, Aries, or a Cancer. So two definite cardinal energies. What I'm seeing is you may be feeling like you want to go off on your own, like maybe you've garnered enough experience within this particular industry to start your own business, start your own. I feel like this is a very like self-employment type of thing. Because the Emperor is someone who is like your empire, right? Didn't I say that? Oh yeah, I said that in the start. Oh, and transformation. So you might be transforming your workplace. But reversed, it's like you kind of want like an unconventional job setup, right? And we also have the Chariot here, and the Chariot talks about pulling two different horses. So you have a white horse and a black horse, and they're going in two different directions. And it's about having control within yourself and determination and just like power, you know, like self-power, to steer these two opposing horses. In this particular deck, we see a bunch of different energies. It's not just one, it's a lot. A lot of these little like bugs. It's like a fairy on a chariot in the sky, and bugs are leading him. But you know, they could be trying to fly in different directions. So this fairy's goal is to direct all of these different energies, all of these different, it's like these bugs are these passions within you. The Ace of Wands or the Ace of Acorns is like your creativity, things you want in your gut to happen, right? Things you're passionate about, businesses you want to start, stories you want to tell, you know, how you want to leave your stamp on the world, kind of like marking your seat on the world, if you will. So these bugs are like all your seeds, all your passions, all your like dreams, right? And it's about steering those dreams into one direction. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, the Chariot shows a man who is leaving civilization. He's leaving a village. He's leaving a town. And he's going off into the wilderness. He's going off into the frontier. He's going off into the unknown. So that could also be, you know, I'm seeing this like path going on into the unknown. This talks about going into the unknown, and then the Emperor is like leaving that empire, leaving that village, leaving that that place, right? Hope it works out, Sagittarius. I think you guys are really good business people, and I worry sometimes about the risks you take, but I feel like if you really rein in on your passions, then you can really direct it into a lucrative business for yourself. And again, you have enough experience. You've worked enough in like the, you've been working for the man enough, right? That you can do it on your own because you have garnered all that experience that you can be your own boss. I love it. Go for it. Next we have love. I hope my camera doesn't die. The battery is freaking out. We have release and the sun. So this can mean a lot of different things. I'm going to wait until other cards tell me. You also got 2 on your Whispers of Love Oracle. You have back to what you love, and the only thing that is real is love. So let's see what it has to say. Back to what you love, 3. Whenever I see back to what you love in this deck, I always feel, I mean, it could be returning back to like an old lover. We'll see if that applies, but I usually see it as like back to what you love, like your childhood, like things you like to do as a kid, you know, like if you like to draw as a kid, then start drawing. If you liked to play school, then, you know, get into teaching. Just like think about what you wanted to, what you liked doing as a kid before you were like 6 years old, and then going back to that, and that's going to put you on a vibration for romantic love. Well, let's see what back to what you love has to say. Your current situation is giving you an opportunity to reevaluate what you want. Back to what you love says, you have the ability to change what you are doing at any time. You don't have to feel like you're stuck. Go back to what you know, and more importantly, to what you love. Ask your angels to guide you with this process. You can do anything that you truly want to. Take an inventory and find out where you got off track, and then find what you need to do to get back to you. And I think this is like tying into reining in your passions, to life purpose changes, whatever you feel like brings you the most joy. You know, that joy you felt as a kid. I think that's where you should be guided. The only thing that is real is love says shift your focus from the problem and back to love. Cute. So this talks about, like, whenever we're in petty arguments, remember, people we don't like, difficult people. Whenever we're in petty arguments, sometimes our pride builds up the situation. It's like bigger than what it actually is, right? So when I see the only thing that is real is love, it's like letting your guard down and forgiving each other, and kind of just realizing, like, we all love and want to be loved, and you know, letting down your pride. So let's see what the book says. The book says, we are conditioned to dwell on problems. The true reality is love. Make the choice now to take a deep breath and focus on what is true. Negativity will disappear once you affirm, everything is okay, I choose love. Beautiful, beautiful. Spirit, 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 please surround us with the warm, white, loving light of God. Please give us God-given guidance for the highest good of all, for Sagittarius and all those who love Sagittarius. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Spirit. Please provide us with the God-given guidance for the highest good of all, for Sagittarius and all those who love Sagittarius. Ooh, get over here. In their love and personal life, Sagittarius and all those who love Sagittarius in their love and personal life. Sagittarius and all those who love Sagittarius in their love and personal life. I'm having a hard time shuffling. They're like slippery. And so I feel like some Sagittarians are like dodging love right now. That's funny. Like they're trying to like sneak out of love. Like, oh, this got a little too serious. Let me step out. Let me know if that resonates with you. Okay, one more shuffle. We have the moon, we have the fool, and we have the knave of acorns. So maybe you've been a fool in the moonlight. Now you're trying to step out. Let's talk it through. So, in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, the Eight of Cups is about walking away from something you've invested in. And it's just a matter of, you know, what was once happy, you know, you've just changed, and perhaps, you know, you have undergone a transformation. You're not the same person as you were, so you need to leave some stuff behind, whether that is in your heart, in your emotions, in your feelings, just an emotional habit that you have, or whether that is an actual person, whether that is an actual relationship. But ultimately, this release is going to bring you much happiness. We have the Sun. The Sun is always a great card. This could also be speaking of your children, because the Sun represents children. You may also be dealing with a Leo. You could be dealing with a Pisces. You could also be dealing, I said a Leo, but you could also be dealing with an Aries or another Sagittarius. In any case, this release, this letting go, perhaps, you know, letting go of your pride, it's going to bring much happiness, going to bring like a sense of renewal. And again, you know, I said children, but back to what you love, you know, your inner child. This could represent your inner child, that inner light you have within you. Perhaps going back to what you love, like painting again or whatever it is. Painting again is going to give you a release from some emotions that you've been dealing with, and is going to you know, radiate this inner child. Wonderful. First we have the moon, and some people view the moon as like deceptive, secretive depression card, but I see it as like mystery and romance. And we definitely see it in this particular deck. We have two fairies, so cute, and they're like the man, the little boy is pointing to the moon. We have a like a lobster type of thing right here. So I mean, the moon I see as any water sign, so Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, but because we have the full right here, the full is Pisces for me. I'm picking up more of a Pisces feel, but it can be any of those signs. But, you know, it's romantic, right? They're two little lovebirds looking at the moon, sitting by the pond looking at the moon. And the thing about the moon is it absorbs the light of the sun. It doesn't give as much light as the sun. So, the glow of the moon can sometimes distort the images we see. So, it can take this lobster that's coming out of the water and turn it into this, like, this is a harmless lobster, right? But because of the shadows that the night plays on you, this lobster can look like a sea monster coming out of the swamp, you know? So it can talk about blowing up our fears, blowing up our illusions, kind of like this dreamy, nightmarish quality to it sometimes. But that's a lot like romance, right? There are like dreamy qualities about romance. You know, love is mystical, right? Love is so mysterious sometimes. So sorry about that, Sagittarius. I had a feeling that was going to happen. I had to recharge my battery. But it gave me a little bit of time. I took a shower, let it charge. It gave me a little bit of time to kind of process the rest of the reading. So like I was saying, love is mystical. It can't be always be explained. And so by the light of the moon, that's the romance. That's the mystery. That's the mystical quality of love, right? And by the light of the moon, you have to have faith in your partner that they feel that same moon magic as you feel, right? That they are as swept away as you are. And because I see two moons right here with the full and the moon in a very romantic image of the moon, it's like being a fool in love, right? And being a fool in love requires a leap of faith. And it's about, because love can't be explained, because love is mystical, because sometimes love can't be put into words, you have to communicate through your heart, right? And you communicate with someone you connect with through your heart in a secret language that only you two understand, right? So perhaps there's a romance going on, or you know, a romance approaching. But what I'm seeing in this storyline is with the divine masculine, while he's undergoing these transformations, I feel like there may be a point in which he falls in love with the divine feminine, and he discovers new things about himself. He discovers his softer side, and he, you know, falls in love with their femininity as well. And so he falls in love with that which is not him, right? And so this makes him feel like all ooey gooey, a full in love, swept away in the romance, but it can also make him feel out of control. So he might be a little jerky right now. We see the knave of acorns, and it's upside down. So this indicates to me a very immature energy. Someone who, you know, their feelings make them vulnerable and they want to be in control. So they make these like insensitive jokes, or they fool around with other people despite being in love with one person, because they, you know, they are in love with this moon lady, right? But that brings up a whole other slew of fears, a whole other slew of doubts. Is she in love with me? How can I trust it? The moon is so mystical. Romance is so mysterious. How do I know? How do I know that she loves me? So It's like fooling around with other women to put your seeds in different baskets so that, you know, you can avoid getting hurt in love or whatever. But I think because you're in love with this moon lady, then, like, you're already there, son. So for the divine masculine, you might be in love with this person. I see Pisces again because the full and the moon. But you might be in love with this person, and that puts you off kilter. But when I see the Knave of Wands reversed, the Knave of Acorns in this deck, fire signs are more sexual than the other elements. They're more sexual than the other elements. They think with their gut, they think with their instinct, they think with their impulses. And so when I see the Knave of Wands reversed, I can kind of see it as, I mean, usually it's a child, so it can indicate like temper tantrums too. But especially the Knight of Wands as like a playa, as someone who sleeps around, fools around, you know, spreads their sexuality around. So the divine masculine, you know, he may be acting insensitive or immature, but it's actually, he's actually getting better. Like, it's just his way of working through this transformation, of his way of coming into a more mature masculinity. Like, he has to, it's like the last battle cry of, you know, this bachelor lifestyle that's dying out, right? Because he knows he is transcending to the ultimate baby daddy, right? Like I said, the ultimate masculine energy, the divine masculine, he knows he is elevating to the next level. So it's like this last release of being a fool, being a kid. I thought about my this guy I used to date, and we didn't have any chemistry, and we just weren't a good match. I mean, I'm glad we tried it out, but he was a Sagittarius, and I have Sagittarius and Venus and a lot of other Sagittarian placements, but, you know, we just weren't a match. It didn't work out, but I had this flashback of sending him, like, suggestive pictures. They weren't naked or anything. They were just, like, a little sexy, you know. And he showed his friends and laughed to his friends. And even laughed to, like, a girl, like the last girl I would want to, you know, experience someone laughing at me, you know? So it was really hurtful at the time, but what I feel like was happening was he was maturing, but he didn't know it, so he had to make a joke out of it because of the discomfort, right? So the masculine energy, the divine masculine, is undergoing this transformation that feels uncomfortable as he connects to his feminine energy, as he falls in love with femininity, as he recognizes his own femininity and his, like, own sensitivities. The moon is a very maternal, feminine card, right? The women are ruled by the moon and the tides. So as he connects with that feminine part of himself, as he connects with feminine counterparts who show him love and vulnerability, this stirs up discomfort within himself, and he, it's like an avoidance technique, right? So it's like to avoid that discomfort, he makes a joke or sleeps around or something like that. But he's actually growing. And it's interesting too, because we have the sun and the moon, so it's like this duality, right? The yin and the yang again, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. But for the women out there who identify, or the men out there who identify as the divine feminine, I feel like there might be a situation whether it's already occurred or it's going to occur, where you get kind of like swept away in the moonlight, in the romance with someone, and maybe you give it up too soon, right? So I feel like you were swept up in this magic, you were full in love, and you, you know, rushed into bed. I think this is for like newly single feminine energies. You might be beating yourself up for rushing in too soon. But really, I would say don't beat yourself up because, you know, you're like beating yourself up over carnal urges. But it's like such a beautiful way for two people to connect and for humans to release, right? It's healthy. It's healthy for our physical bodies. It's healthy for our emotional world. You know, if men don't have sex, then they want to kill people, right? If women don't have sex, then they end up very tense too. So it is good for our physical bodies. It's good for our emotional health. And, you know, it's this, it's a God-given gift, and it's a great expression of emotion, even if you don't, even if you aren't in love or committed to someone. It's a very beautiful experience between two humans. I feel if this, for some of you, I feel like you're not on the dating scene at all. Like, you might be single, but you're not looking. And if that's the case, then I feel like during the nighttime, you're going to be working on this life purpose, working on these creative endeavors, a full in love, right? So you're a full in creative pursuits, a full in, you're just having fun creating again, going back to what you love, right? But I do feel like this is going to make you a little moody in your everyday life, give you a temper, right? It's gonna, because you're not getting enough sleep, you know, more hours in the day. I wish there were, but you know, you're carving out time to devote yourself to creative pursuits, and so you're not taking enough time to rest. Again, I would also say to get exercise. That's going to help regulate your sleep as well. Let me see if I can pick up on any hits. I think the sexual chemistry between you and someone else, if you are with someone, is off the hook. So that's good. Be sure not to make any sudden investments, like any investments that seem too good to be true. With the Seven of Cups, it's like imagining too big of a fortune than it actually is, and being foolish. I think maybe part of the discomfort within you, part of the transformation, part of the agitation might be that you feel like you want to move forward, but you're stuck and there's nothing you can do about it. You might, your car might break down. Like you might be without a car. I see that. I feel like you also might leave someone in the lurch if they piss you off. You might just like drive away from them, leave them hanging. That's all I got this month, Sagittarius. I love you very much. Again, happy birthday, happy holidays. Love you very much, and I hope to see you next time.